return. And we be up here for the long run, strap in for a long one. We got everybody on one. Now you coming at the king, so you better not miss. And we only get stronger with everything I carry up on my back. You should paint it up with a target. Why would you dare me to do it again? Come get your spoiler, but we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, look at you calling my name. You ought to know by now that we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, maybe you wonder what your future's gonna be, but I got it all locked up. Take a lap now, don't be mad now. Run it back, run it back. I got bodies lining up, think you're dreaming of greatness. Send you back home, let you wake up. Why would you dare me to do it again? Come and get your spoiler, but we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, look at you calling my name. You ought to know by now that we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, maybe you wonder what your future's gonna be, but I got it all locked up.在以后，除了是傻子，还有其他吗？我左右，键盘噼啪着，时间滴答着，还不够。你的固执让我来守候，哪怕太迟也不想以后。就在这时放肆的打斗。I got the heart of a lion, I know the harder you climb, the harder you fall. I'm at the top of the mountain, too many bodies to count. I've been through it all. I had to weather the storm to get to the level I'm on. That's how the legend was born. All of my enemies already dead. I'm born, I'm ready for war. They know I'm ready for war. I told them we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, look at you calling my name. You ought to know by now that we're taking over. Hey, maybe you wonder what your future's gonna be, but I got it all locked up.
Welcome back, everyone, to day 2 of week 8, and we're on our second series after a very close one. We end the day on another super important one, Team Secret facing off against Cerberus. I'm Yue, back with Marby and Clockwork. Welcome back. After a little bit of a break, after a little bit of a cool down, we're ready for our match of the week. It's time for Team Secret against Cerberus. How are you feeling about this one, Marby?
I'm feeling this should be a little bit of it should be a very close one. Part of me really wants to say that, yes, it's going to be just a bit of Cerberus should be team gapping. Well, maybe not team gapping, but that bot diff should be insane. But this new Secret roster looks so much better than what we've seen so far. And they seem so much more versatile, what they can bring to the table, that maybe Cerberus can't get the game they want.
Yeah, I definitely want to focus a little bit more on some of the changes Team Secret have made to their roster. But first, I want to give the floor to Clockwork. You have something to show us, right? Or do you want to do that a little bit later? It's on you, of course, to decide.
So a few weeks back, when Secret won against GAM, I really got hyped, and I believed that they could do it again. So I predicted them winning in their return match. That didn't turn out fine, and so I had to wear the dum-dum hat. So
Dum Dum
I
Head.
am going to predict for Secret again here, but it's no Dum Dum. It's time to evolve. I'm gonna go the full way. I believe the Secret can win this. Secret is going to take this. It will be close, but it will be a victory, a key victory, especially thanks to the swaps that they have made in recent week. Eddie and Nagia coming into the team, replacing Coated and Slater, brought massive benefits, and their run has started, and it's going to continue today.
I don't get that. Hat
Okay,
didn't
so
change.
we're going to see which side of the hat you wear after today. But yeah, let's bring up the predictions real quick, because you already touched on your prediction going for Secret. I believe we are split on this one at
Oh.
least.
No, apparently
Let's
not.
look at this. Oh no, we are not. Interesting. Secret
Oh.
across the board. I believe at least Everyday's went with Cerberus, so I guess Side can be very happy today. Oh, Everyday is Secret as well, apparently.
You do believe.
So-
You do believe.
We
I
are
will make
all
a secret
believers in the new Team Secret roster, which is quite surprising because Cerberus has looked pretty good as well. 2-0ing SGB, of course, last week. And then, yeah, looks like we all want to see the big eye strike back. Secret, of course, still on the hunt for their playoff position. Cerberus, not secured yet, but pretty firmly in second place. Today could be the day where they really confirm this second place. Maybe we can bring up the standings. They, in the last few weeks, they've actually kind of eclipsed all the other playoff teams apart from GAM, especially if you look at the last category there. Game score +9, 8-3 in series as well. 8 traditionally has been enough to get to playoffs 2, 3 series out, so they could actually get to 11, which I believe would be their best score ever for Cerberus. So a very promising season for them. Let's talk a little bit about Cerberus. What are their main strengths? Clockwork. Oh, they
So-
are actually locked for playoffs. I can see on.
Yeah, they
on
are
the
locked for
graph.
playoff. They still want to get second place. I believe, of course, they can in their next weeks. They basically played the whole split, the majority of the last weeks, also by honing their most efficient skill, which is bring it to the late game and team fight around Yado and around Artemis. Those two are the carries of the team, and they always deliver. There are very rarely matches when either of the carries makes mistakes that are crucial for the game. They're very solid. They're never going to be a liability, and they always bring positives. Especially Artemis, he has a huge damage contribution to the team, and his hyper carries are very, very respective. I like. We discussed a lot about it. He's probably the best AD carry this split. And I think against a rookie like Eddie, it could be a center point to build up towards a win.
He's actually competing for number 1, or is indeed right now at the number 1 spot in our caster MVP race, tied with Levi and an insane amount of points. I will not reveal, but we will see after this, or you can all see after the season completes. But yeah, Artemis, insanely strong season. But his opponent today is another interesting case. Marby, what do we know about Eddie? Or Slater, who knows?
Not too much. So Slater, we know a lot more about. He last year was the best AD carry, and he's traditionally been one of the best AD carries in the league. He's been a huge powerhouse for teams to come back and to sort of fight around a great late game contingency plan. Eddie, however, he's a rookie. He hasn't exactly had a super flashy performance, but he's super solid in lane, super solid in team fights. And he is pumping out so much damage for his gold that he's just having a great old time. And he's paired up so nicely with CBL that they are taking it to a lot of these bot lanes and having a great time just scaling up and coming into these team fights.
Yeah, I think Eddie or Slater against Artemis is going to be one of our main storylines to follow, one of the most interesting positions to follow. But because it's the match of the week, we have even more prepared here, and this time I'm going to throw it to Clockwork. You have another one here for the mid lane matchup. We would take a look at the champion pool of the two mid laners, I believe. So take it away, please.
Absolutely. Both players, as I said, they are very crucial to the victory conditions of both teams. Especially Yado. He plays a lot of these champions like Orianna and the Zoe and the Victor that we know that are comfort for him. Artifact usually goes for a bit more of aggressive champions in lane. He prefers the Syndra a lot in this case. One great difference is that Artifact, in the last few matches when the rookies have come in, he has taken a bit of more of a step back. He prefers to be the secondary carry to Eddie instead of being the massive pop-off carry that he tried to be in the first half of the split. Sometimes he didn't deliver and he was very hardly impacting the game. But I think that with this new layout that they have for the team composition, it's proving much better for the overall team economy. That said, I want to see my favorite Yado Cassiopeia. Niche pick, but it can work in a lot of compositions.
Yeah, and I think if you take a look at those sort of champs that lean a little bit more towards Artifact, things like the Rise, things like the Twisted Fate and the Azir, they give TS that extra bit of flexibility. Let them run some more unusual compositions like that 1-3-1 comp we saw last week, which they played extremely well for a VCS team, which was very surprising to see. Whereas Cerberus, they are much more rigid. They play for their AD carry all day, every single game. It works most of the time, but it's very, very rigid.
But I believe it's time for us to move into draft. We had the Vietnamese team actually had a little bit of a trash talk segment, so they have fired up everyone over there. We came in with a lot of nice analysis from our two analysts, and now we're ready for the match of the week to start. First pick will be Kai'Sa, so we're back to the Kai'Sa pick, which doesn't really tell us much because Eddie has played 4 games of Kai'Sa, and we all know about Slater Kai'Sa, so it's either one of the two. We don't really know who it's going to be. Marby, you seem to not like this decision very much.
So it's a good pick. It's actually a really bad first pick because Tristana is open. Hecarim's not open, but
Seraphine?
So taking the Tristana or the Seraphine would have been a much better sort of use of first pick. It also is just extremely disappointing because I want to see Eddie show something else. He's played 4 games of Kai'Sa, 1 game of Jinx. Jinx is different, but it's 1 game. I want more out of this guy if it is him. And if Slater, I don't want Kai'Sa because he's kind of hyphy on that pick. But
so he went for the Olaf.
With the jungle bans, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's basically the only viable thing. I'm curious to know what Secret pulls out here for the jungle. We know that the Nocturne will always be a possibility for DNK, and Cerberus, I think, should have taken account of that in their jungle bans. That said, they want to go for the Renekton. I don't think it's a optimal pick to pick him blind. That said, they maybe want to wait a bit more to pull out the jungle and maybe pick for DNK something based on the solo lane that he has. Since the champion pool for the jungle is almost over, I still want to see the Nocturne because it's a trademark Secret pick, and they always want to work around these very specific compositions that make them play in their very own quirky way, and that could be very instrumental to a victory against a strong opponent like Cerberus.
Look at this draft. We're out for blood. Both compositions coming in with a lot of engaged power and a lot of jumping or running at the opponent, and even more engaged power now. So this is going to be a bloody one, I believe. Yeah. Not a lot of defensive tools on either side.
Yeah,
so who's going to...
Cerberus beat me to it. These two picks from Team Secret are pointing to me things like Elise, things like Nidalee, things that really follow up well on the sort of point-and-click stuns that they have available. We saw a really strong game out of DNK with that Elise earlier in the split, so that's been taken away. I expect a Nidalee ban to follow. That seems the most obvious. Again, that Nocturne is still available, so maybe they go to ban that instead. It's a much more comfortable champion for DNK. But then,
Hear me out. Karthus Nocturne for Team Secret. Nocturne mid lane, Karthus jungle. You have a lot of go buttons. You can just dive in with Nocturne, and even Kai'Sa and Leona can follow up. You can try to flank with Renekton, and Karthus sits back and presses R. Karthus is not an engaged champ, so DNK gets to farm and optimize his pathing. I think it would be great to go Nocturne Karthus here. I'm not sure if Team Secret is ready, but I would like to see it.
Especially into the Olaf. We in Italy had recently our national finals.
It's Eddie.
And to counter the Olaf in the jungle and compositions like relying on
DNK. It's Karthus. It's Karthus.
Yeah.
Good point every day.
Yeah, Karthus jungle and Nocturne mid were the picks that the winner champions, the winner team made in their semifinals and finals. So it's a strategy that works. I have seen it in play, and I'm very excited if Secret pulls them out, because it's like also here it comes, let's go. I'm ready for this is a very Team Secret comp, and it's very effective against a lot of compositions, because it gives you very little to react. It has very little counterplay and very high damage, and it's really hard to punish a Karthus in lane, because he has a massive shove with the I don't know the name, but the hand and the AoE passive. So it's really hard to force him under.
Lay waste,
Yeah.
Nocturne would be better for engage. Jace is good for lane power, I guess. You don't want to blind pick Nocturne in the mid lane.
So with the Jace, I mean, Nocturne can do this to some extent, but this Jace is a little bit better at it. It gives a bit more flexibility in terms of Renekton and Jace. They can just swap whichever lane they want depending on what the two matchups are. But it's actually Huber in. Unfortunately, he's not going to get his most played Seraphine. It's going to go to Yado because there's an Alistar.
Ooh, that's a risky last pick here.
Yeah,
you
especially
have
up
almost
against
no damage
Jace.
apart from Artemis' Tristana, and Artemis' Tristana is insane, right? He is certainly capable to carry the game, but it's scary.
Cerberus did show proficiency with a single carry composition. Artemis can very well deliver enough damage for the rest of the team. That said, of course, it's not optimal, especially because it gives Secret a very obvious way to counter this composition. So gank the bot lane repeatedly, have artifacts move a lot towards the bot lane, and punish the Tristan as much as possible. So it will be very hard for them to come back. In the late game, they will still be a threat since Tristana scales very well. There's the Ornn, there's the Seraphine with the AoE heal. So Secret needs to act fast. I believe if they play their composition correctly, they will have an easy path to victory. So here I'm predicting Team Secret.
Okay, and Mommy?
What is your opinion? It comes down to how good is Secret's ability to dive onto Artemis. They have pretty good dive setup from like Renekton, and I mean Kai'Sa, Leona can always dive in, but if Huber plays this properly, plays a very defensive role, same with Pun. Well, Pun doesn't even need to play that defensive, but because of Yado being there, and with those two supports sitting, if they just sit on top of Artemis, I actually don't know if they have the ability to do it, and I actually might be leaning towards Cerberus this game, but it's a tough call, this one.
Split prediction for match of the week. That's what we want to hear, and now we want to hear way more from the craftsman, the wordsmith, every day back into the cast. Welcome back.
Thank you, my friend Yue. I'm glad to be back. I am so excited for this match of the week. I think both teams have come away with compositions that they are very happy with. This composition fits Team Secret to a T. DNK does not have to be first man in, but they play those skirmishes. They play the picks. Over on the other side, it is textbook League of Legends. Paint by numbers. We're going into the team fights. We're going to scale, and we're going to outplay you in the 5v5. Both teams playing to their strength, and that's what we want in a match of the week.
Though, I have to say, it's a little bit of a different look for Cerberus when it comes to mid lane champions. We just talked about the mid lane champion pool for Yado, And his damage share is actually higher on average than Artemis's. He's at 28.7% damage share, which is an insanely high number, especially in such a skirmish-heavy region. We know Cerberus is the most 5v5 focused team in our league. But yeah, usually he's actually on a control mage with a lot of damage.
Hang on, I just want to point out a very micro thing, and then I'll let you keep talking. I like what Team Secret's just done. Their bot lane pathed diagonally up, so it actually looked like they were coming out of Tribush.
Yep.
I just want to point that out. It's a very micro thing, but it might mean that Cerberus can't read the blue steel.
Yeah, very cool spot. I didn't actually see that, so that is very interesting indeed.
Sorry, but I didn't mean to interrupt your point, but...
No, that's fine. That's very much what we want to see. Some micro adaptation. Team Secret always one of the most.
It's a 3-buff. They didn't read it. It's a 3-buff.
Yeah, and look at Olaf. He's so far behind the curve now. He might be able to bot invade with all the bot pressure from his bot lane here. Bot lane 2v2. Oh, they just checked the blue buff, I believe.
They just found out.
The suspicion. Okay, so now let's see how Zhu Hao reacts and interacts with the enemy jungler. It's very risky for him to invade because DNK, look at his summoner spells. You pointed it out in draft already. It's exhaust Karthus. It's very hard for Olaf to just run into the enemy jungle into exhaust Karthus.
The thing is, I don't think he can possibly read this. Look where the ward is. It doesn't actually see the Raptor camp. So they don't know that DNK went the path that he did. If I'm thinking, I think, okay, he stole my blue, he's then gone to his red. That's not what DNK did. DNK took his Raptor camp, then cleared topside. This is almost unreadable for Zhu Hao to think there is currently a red buff up. This is big brain out of DNK.
I have to say, a lot of people actually like to go from the same buff to the same buff just to completely deny this one buff from the map. So we can see Zhu Hao is kind of
He doesn't know.
guessing.
He has no idea a red buff is there, or he'd be taking it.
I'm not sure why he didn't try to go a little bit further into the enemy jungle with all the bot pressure. He definitely had the time. Mid lane was actually shoved in his favor too. So maybe a little bit of a misstep there from Zhu Hao, playing it very safe. This, in the long run, will hurt him compared to the Karthus, who's just able to farm one more camp. They split the crabs as well, so no advantage whatsoever for Zhu Hao, who had more time on the map because one of his buffs was missing. So in the end, it's just DNK coming away with an advantageous first clear. And as long as he can reset the camps now, he should also be able to accelerate in the level curve. Right now, all his bot side camps are level 1. Which is not the greatest, so he doesn't really get a lot of XP from these. But he should still be able to slingshot ahead and maybe outpace the Olaf on the race to level 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's only the Krugs that were level 1. That is actually a second Raptor spawn, so DNK in a pretty good position. I'm just really happy to see... The red, that's true. That is a fair point. I'm just happy to see this. This is something that's been improving in the VCS. Are these very early game scripted plays? SGB are the big pioneers. BeamJ has literally been... It's like it's a Hollywood movie. He's running through a script. He gets takes and takes and takes. And I'm happy to see DNK doing it as well. I love Karthus. He's super fun to watch. And I'm really happy that this seems rehearsed.
Also, I want to quickly shift your attention to the mid lane, where, interestingly and surprisingly enough, Yado is actually completely dominating Artifact in this matchup, which I certainly didn't expect. Looking at Jace against Seraphine, to me, Jace should be the champion with more laning ability, with more early game pressure, but instead it's Yado with the last pick. He was confident in the matchup for sure. Probably picked it more for the late game 5v5, but even in the early game, it's already putting up a good show on this Seraphine.
We should say, and Zhu Hao has caught out onto Artifact. That early burst will favor the Olaf, of course. Now he has to run away. There's a big knock away, but Artifact chunked as they get the Mountain Drake using that bot lane pressure.
Cross map in the top lane.
He's had to flash away using the ult as well, but no counter kill threat. But the ult is burned.
And this was a good play from Cerberus because they knew once Team Secret's jungler, Karthus, is level 6, it's going to be hard to put out more pressure on the map. So try to attack when all the junglers are still level 5, because level 5 Karthus doesn't really do much, especially without the flash to get in there. So very good timing from Cerberus. The constant bot lane pressure, and very good fight from Zhu Hao to make the mid lane accountable. Forced this first Dragon for Cerberus, very controlled play, and now they have to deal with DNK hitting level 6 in the next fight. So the next one is going to be difficult to deal with.
Now, there is a bit of an issue down on this bot lane, though, as
Oh, wow.
the Tristana is getting very far ahead. Oh, an engage, though. Leona goes in, but they can't
No
get past
Karthus
the
ults.
Alistar. Well, I mean, they can't get past Alistar. This is such a problem. I don't like giving Tristana to Artemis. Up on the top side, though, hello. I just noticed Pun's health bar was very low, and it appears that DNK had a lovely song to sing. He was the best singer in the league, even when Seraphine entered. So that is going to be that first blood for the Karthus. That is exactly what Team Secret wants.
and
It's
two
another
platers.
plate over. Now CBL's in a bit of trouble, but DNK coming in, wants to get another. Doesn't actually do
Disaster
anything on
across
that
the map.
one. Team Secret get another kill. Eddie showing why Team Slater has moved to Team Eddie. This is lovely, lovely stuff out of the big boys from Secret.
And this is all a trickle-down effect from Karthus having so much more global pressure than Zhu Hao and the Olaf. The Karthus ult not only secured the kill in top lane and gave full lane priority on 2 plates to Nagia after already setting up the gank a little bit earlier with the first attempt at level 5, but it also chunked out Cerberus' bot lane, I should say, which meant even though they tried the all-in, they didn't really got to play with everything they wanted to, right? Not quite as strong as some of the other Tristana games we've seen already today. So in the end, it results in a kill on the top lane and on the bot lane. So both crucial carries are ahead. It's basically another kill over to Nagia in terms of plating secure for him, because there were 2 solo plates taken, or at least one was solo. So all 3 carries ahead, only Artifact struggling in this laning phase. But even he stabilized the early deficit now. So Team Secret off to a great start.
Yeah, and this is what they need to do. They need to have their foot on the gas. They need to be
And
in
they
the
want
driver's
more.
seat. Yes, they do. There it is. They're running in the 90s as they go on forward. The wall of pain is up, and Pun's having no fun as he's sent to the
Double
grave.
flash.
DNK gets the kill. Oh, you love to see it. Team Secret continue to speed into playoffs.
I think I know who Team Secret scrimmed all week. They played against Kemkin, and they practiced their Kemkin tactics. 3 players in top lane again and again. They double flashed for the kill. I'm not sure if that's entirely worth it, but it looks really good and brings the top side so far ahead. Artemis with a good punish, though, on bot side. Cross-mapping. A sign of good teams playing each other is something happens everywhere. Cerberus immediately able to get a little bit of gold back onto their main carry, their big hyper carry in the
Ooh,
late
hang
game.
on.
There we
Zoom
go.
out.
Dive is
Spotted,
brewing.
though. Nah, they're spotted. They're going to call it off.
Too risky. Into CBL level 6, Eddie level 6, so much extra HP to work through. Zhu Hao also not really that strong at this point. Neither is Artemis, so I think it's pretty smart to call this off. They also don't have they didn't keep track of Karthus'
But
ults.
they don't actually
well
need
enough.
to go under tower here. Look what they're doing. Just getting Artemis gold and equalizing as much as they can this top lane play.
Well, you say equalizing, but
As much as they can. As much as they can.
that's a very, very important clarification, because look at the gold lead. It's 3k at 10 minutes.
It's pretty
And
brutal.
DNK is taking all the camps away too. So I
It's
like
brutal.
what Zhu Hao is doing, immediately re-invading bot side, because he doesn't actually have to be there all the time to threaten the dive. He just him leaning bot side will already give Artemis and Tuba a lot of pressure. So like that he immediately went to the camps from Karthus and stole some of those away. In terms of CS, he's actually ahead of the Karthus, which is a little bit surprising, especially after the early 3 buff. So good pathing decisions taken by Zhu Hao, but in the end you still have to look at the champions and say, well, it's Olaf with a 3 CS lead over Karthus, who has 2 kills already. So I would like to have the Karthus in my team, honestly.
Yes, please. I'll put my hand up and say I'd like the Karthus. But you know who else I'd like? I kind of like the Tristana, particularly when it's Artemis. You pointed it out on the desk. He is the current MVP leader from our votes, equal with Levi. He is ridiculous. When Cerberus looks good, it's because Artemis looks great. He is so big. Has the Kraken Slayer at 11 minutes.
Oh, he
Has
might
a
be
big
baited
front line
into
as well. Ooh.
There are a lot of wards coming down. Karthus ulti is available. He doesn't have the
just don't
flash,
think
so
they
it's
can
hard for him to
catch.
close the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a dragon, though. I don't think Cerberus should contest this.
Cerberus, this is dangerous. Don't overextend into them. The Karthus is so strong. This is where he wants to fight.
Just give this up. Oh, they're committing a teleport.
I hate
They
this.
want this fight. CBL trying to get it going. Huber with a knockup straight onto the Renekton. There's a Seraphine ultimate landing onto the Karthus. They're dealing a lot of damage. Renekton will immediately go down. Karthus follows.
Okay.
Cerberus, they're very good at team fighting your way. I think we might have forgotten to put some respect on the name. Huber goes in, gets the triple knockup. The big beefy play as he goes in. Artemis flashing forward. He wants Artifact. Can't quite find him yet. They back off, but it's 3 kills for Cerberus, and they're right back up the guts.
And they had absolutely no business winning this fight, even though Cerberus is a good late-game team fighting team. They were 3k gold down, and early on Tristana against the likes of Karthus and Renekton. You favor Karthus and Renekton on one item, but great positioning from Cerberus. The Team Secret a little bit scattered, and even though Karthus dies on the Dragon Pit, no one's really in his Defile range. The ultimate doesn't really deal much damage either, and then it's just 3 squishies. Great re-engage from Huber. What an insane performance. Yado and Huber stepping up huge, and the whole team, once again, they're very disciplined when it comes to teamfight positioning, when it comes to compact teamfight outlooks, and just how to craft a good teamfight from start to finish. It looked dicey, it looked risky, but look at the gold lead, or the lack thereof. They're back into the game.
They're right on back in. The misstep from Team Secret. They decided to fight Cerberus in a choke. Foolish stuff there. Never ever do it. Don't fight Cerberus on their terms. They're just too good. Nagia went straight down. He's carrying a lot of the gold as well. Now it's on Team Secret. They've just taken a big hit with a blue shell, but they need to get that cart rolling again because they can't slow down for even a minute.
Now our featured matchup is going to get more and more important. Eddie can't really go into a lane alone. He's only level 7. Look at Artemis, already level 9. He's much safer. He can actually side lane on the Tristana, while Eddie on Kai'Sa really can't afford to ever go close to a minion wave alone. So he always has to be shadowed by CBL, which means even bigger of an experience gap is going to grow in favor of Artemis. As you can see, he can just step up to Nagia. He's on the same level as the top lane. Hyper-focused Renekton, right? He was the one Team Secret played through, especially with the early moves. So very impressive stuff out of Cerberus. Level 10 now for Artemis. Can they go for the kill? I don't think they have the damage now.
Nah, not.
But yeah, let's look at the history of the two players. And the funny thing here is we are actually looking at 2 AD carries who are supposed to be the understudies of Slater. Artemis was the understudy before. Artemis, the substitute. He never really got to play under Slater. Eddie, the very new AD carry on our list. And he's actually making Slater sweat. He's making Slater fight for a spot. And right now, Slater is losing. So these 2 AD carries, very exciting. And Slater is sitting back. And I'm not sure if he's even cheering for his team right now, because maybe it would actually be nice for his spot and his job security if Eddie lost to his former understudy.
Maybe. Now, Yue, I hate to drag us off topic, but can you have a sticky beak at that top lane mythic?
Which one are we talking
The
about?
chem tank on Ornn.
Chem tank, yeah.
Over the Frostfire.
It's a strange decision. I guess he made the choice just to be a little bit more impactful in team fights, because he's probably not going to be in range to use the Frostfire. I guess this is reasoning. I mean, a fast running Ornn is still an Ornn with no CC whatsoever, so I don't really think it's that great, but honestly, tank items are kind of interchangeable, so not the biggest deal. A little bit strange for sure. And it's a new Ornn item we have to think about, which I think the upgrade has a great name, right?
Turbocharged Experiment.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Wow. One of the best. Did you expect me to know that? I'm not sure. Anyway.
I think I remembered you were kind of posing with that last stream, so I thought you knew that.
Good. I know lots of pointless things. But Zhu Hao knows how to get himself a second Rift Herald as he moves up there at the perfect time. Yado coming over to support on the Seraphine. As
Really
it is
like that Team
melting
Secret is
away.
not actually trying to contest this one. It's just second
No,
Herald.
don't bother.
It's not. Yep. Just they use the time to reset. They are now on the map a little bit quicker, and they have a better timing and especially positioning for this dragon. So I feel like it's a long trade for Herald into Dragon, and Cerberus needs to find a way to overcome this tempo disadvantage because
Bot
they
diff.
haven't reset.
There's a bit of a bot diff at the moment.
The AD carry itemization difference is quite huge, and the Renekton isn't far enough ahead, and DNK is not at level 11. So even though Team Secret deliberately gave up the Herald to get positioning and priority over the Dragon, they still lose the Dragon too. So Cerberus having their cake and eating it too for now, looking very dominant when it comes to rotating across the map, just playing together as a team.
Yeah, they've been having a big bowl of their Rotato chips to keep themselves fired up for this game. Powering on ahead. Nagia up on the top side, still trying to leverage this advantage. It is a big croc. We'll have to see if he can keep swaggering forward, if it will be enough against the lovely, lovely play coming out of Artemis as this Tristana is getting out of hand. I said it as I came in. I think you guys said it in draft. I don't like giving Artemis Tristana. I don't like giving the best AD carry in the league the best AD carry in the game.
And the unsung hero in this game, even though she is trying to sing herself into popularity, for me, is definitely the Seraphine. Because I think Yado is playing one of the best Seraphine laning phases in early games I've ever seen, especially in the VCS, compared to the likes of Froggy, who's a very good Seraphine player, but he's struggling. He tends to struggle to keep up in lane pressure in CS. Yado actually won his lane early on. He has no TP to reset into Artifact who runs the TP. He has way less burst. He went cleanse
He has
for
spell.
the safety.
He did TP. He has spell.
Oh, right. Okay, my bad. But still, super impressive to me how Yado has been able to just equalize the mid lane and make Artifact kind of a non-factor here, and Artifact on the way more early game focused champion behind his opponent in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly correct. This is Cerberus though. This is very similar to SGB. Sorry, I had a mental blank. They're better than the sum of their parts. They enable each other perfectly. They play off each other. They cover each other's weaknesses. They bring up each other's strengths, and I love to see it.
And they're very much not afraid to play the long game. Even though the enemy team has a Karthus and I guess the Kai'Sa, if you look at the late game potential, they know they are the better team in the late game. Usually Cerberus is actually a team that doesn't draft for late game, but plays for late game, which sounds counterintuitive, but they use their draft to bypass their early game weaknesses. They like to go for super lane dominant champions like the Renekton. This game, they actually completely went for late game, not only in draft, but also, not only in gameplay, but also in draft, I should say. So it's a risky attempt from Cerberus to really optimize their biggest strength, because if they're already the biggest or the best late game team fighting team, if you then are also able to bring the best composition to the late game team fight, no one can challenge you.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to keep seeing them play this out cleanly. It's Team Secret, if they smell a mistake, they are still able to bite that hand. They do have that level 2 Karthus ult now. The Liandry's complete. Definitely not over, but Cerberus are looking fantastic. The question just becomes, how does Team Secret ever play around the front line of Cerberus?
How do they ever find and engage on Artemis? He has so much protection, so many tanks to cut through, and usually when you look at the enemy team running so many tanks, you want a way to bypass the tank.
Oh, hello, they're going to go in though. They go onto the Olaf. Pun coming in from the side is cutting all of the damage out. Nagia has to flash away from the Seraphine ult. The Requiem will come in early. Pun with an absolutely massive knockup. It's not quite enough though. No one from Team Secret has gone down. No one from either team has actually gone down. There it is. The cow goes over. DNK goes down. The Karthus is gone. And Cerberus pick up another win.
And DNK completely loses probably the whole game for his team. He used his ultimate in range of the On. You can never do that. That's That's a beginner's mistake on Karthus. Never use ulti when someone can interrupt you. Just wait till you die. You can even int for your ult. The most important part is that you get your ult damage out, and he completely messed it up. CBL is going to be the sacrificial lamb. Okay, that's an aggressive flash for Zuha, but they should still be able to get this Baron.
Yeah. Oh, they might be scared with DNK respawning. I think 21-minute Baron, it doesn't go down that quickly. Oh, but Nagia, you can't be here. No.
Yes,
Crocodile. I don't think he can. And now, can he get the blast cone? He can. I think he can. Oh, no. Artemis flashes over. Bang. The kill's picked up, and now it's Baron.
Cerberus really wants this Baron. They need one more pick, I guess, because DNK is back alive. He doesn't have Flash, of course, because he doesn't have Flash in the first place. But I believe Team Secret has stalled out long enough, and they've actually gotten a lot of flashes out of the enemy
teleport coming in. Pun, he is a chem tank Ornn, so he will be very fast. Artifact caught out completely. He will be put in the dirt. And now Cerberus has come together. Easy stuff. I think Cerberus have locked this one away.
Pick after pick after pick. It's just better coordination. They group as 5, they run the map as 5, and if you can't attack side lanes, if you can't make use of the great experience in gold generation if you play all 3 lanes, then moving as 5 with this composition is always superior. So Cerberus showing us why they are the best 5v5 team and how they play it out. It's a very clean game in my opinion from them so far, even though the kill score is kind of divided 4-7, so it doesn't look too clean. But Cerberus, after a pretty abysmal early game towards top side, coming back and never looking back at all, looking like the dominant team with no hesitation whatsoever. Great coordination too.
Absolutely. And I think Cerberus have quite a lot of pride on the line at the moment because they're in second. They are in second, but they are not thought of as the second place team, at least in our community. Most people still think SGB is the second best team. The ones that can really take it to GARM. Cerberus, I think, wants to change that opinion. They want the reputation of, no, we're the ones that are going to take it to GARM. We are the second best team.
And in my opinion, Cerberus is actually trying to model themselves after Flash from last year. And Flash beat GARM in both finals, right? Flash always fell to GARM in the long run in the regular season because they lost the odd series here or there against the weaker team. But in the 1v1, in the pure matchup against GARM in the finals, Flash came out ahead. So I think Cerberus is really trying to optimize that Flash style. Of course, they already were a little bit of a 5v5 oriented team. But last year, Cerberus was much more about the early game. They were actually a pretty dominant early game team. That has completely vanished. Their whole game plan, their whole outlook for the game is focused on the team fights like this one.
Yeah, it is a bit of a bait, but Cerberus might have pulled the trigger a little bit too early. There's the Ornn Horn. It knocks up DNK. It knocks up Eddie. All of the damage has been zoned out. The Solar Flare doesn't land much. There's the Encore. Eddie goes into the backside, trying to get some damage down as DNK moves in. Putting out those Skittles. So far, it's getting really close, but this Seraphine healing is kicking in. She's doing so much. They can't get the kills. Down goes Karthus. He's going to sing himself a song, but it's not going to be good enough. That's another team fight win for Cerberus. This Seraphine healing is just destroying them.
And you knew the counter to Karthus ult. When the enemy locks in Karthus, you just insta-lock Soraka and laugh at him when he presses R. This is not quite Soraka, but Seraphine is kind of Soraka and all the other supportive champs in one, because she's Seraphine, and she's very, very strong right now. So last pick Seraphine, I had a lot of doubts about this pick, but it's looking so, so good. Cerberus completely out of fighting Team Secret. And honestly, there isn't much Secret can do to come back from this position. 5k gold down against all items, against this Seraphine, and this insanely strong Tristana. They're scaled to a point of no return. If you look at DNK's position, he would have really liked to flash into the backline here, but he has no flash, so he has to walk very slowly. Good micro execution from Pan as well, always keeping track of the position of DNK and zoning him away. And once again, look at his position when he dies. He's not inside the enemy team. He's far away, so even though he gets his ult off, the defile damage doesn't come in. The lay waste doesn't lay waste to anything. So in the end, it's very inefficient Karthus. Just the ult is not enough to make a good champion.
No, it's not. He's certainly not far ahead for it just to be the Requiem to win fights. Artifact needs to be more effective on this Jace as well. 1-1-0 is not what your Jace needs to be doing. It needed to win the lane, didn't. And now Team Secret, they've just fallen behind. This composition had to get ahead early. I don't think it was a bad draft. It just had to win early. It didn't, and now it looks terrible. So Cerberus is just going to walk it in. There's probably going to be one more team fight, and we'll be heading for map 2.
And we have to question this Jace pick. It was blind. Blind Nocturne might be a little bit too scary, but then again, what is the purpose of Jace here? He has to win lane. He didn't do that. He didn't really contribute to anything. Nocturne at least would have been one more go button. Try to get into the backline together with Nagia, assisted by the Requiem, and maybe even assisted by Eddie jumping into the backline. Instead, Jace just doesn't do anything. He's there, but he could just as well be AFK at this point. He doesn't do anything. And this is just the victory march for Cerberus. They're just crawling and just leading the minions into the base and waiting for the enemy team to strike for their last chance. But I don't think Team Secret is really too interested to fight again. But here we go.
Yeah, I think they're going to go for it. The Encore misses. I thought maybe they'd go for that one. This is your last best chance. It's not a good chance, but it's your best chance.
It's a very bad one.
If they reset, they're just going to come to the Dragon with more items because they get a reset. May as well try and catch them now before they spend their gold. Like,
do you think
doomed if you do, doomed if you don't. No, I don't think so. Let's do this Requiem. Ooh, the tickle cannon! Tickles from above! Did about 500 damage.
Yado, once again, very nicely timed shield, empowered shield, just completely negating the Karthus Requiem. And now the Requiem is done. So he has no flash.
Ornn ultimate goes in, one knock up. There's the Ragnarok. They're moving straight into DNK. They know that this Karthus is still the threat. DNK's not moving in, though. He's not going to die anywhere useful, and they're just not taking damage. Look at the healing coming out of Yado. The health bars are just refilling. Zap, zap, zap. Back up to full. Artifact comes in from the side. It's a triple kill. Here we go. Can we get another Pento? We've seen a few of them. I don't think so. Not this time. As Eddie trying to deal all that damage, he ults forward, does get that double. He'll get cleaned up now by Artemis. Is it a quadra in time? There it is. There's the Penta. Artemis goes forward and in a playoff deciding game picks up a pentakill.
The best AD carry in this league. It's not Slater. It's not Slater's replacement. It's Slater's old replacement. It's Artemis moving to another team when he still could, not wanting to wait for Slater to fall off or for himself to get a chance. He moved to Cerberus and he is the main carry, the best, maybe even the best player in the league. Once again, putting on a show, sub 30 minutes. What a performance from Cerberus after a horrible, horrible early game.
And we are going to get one last replay as the game has ended.
Yeah, and look at DNK once again. He has no flash. He has no way of getting into the backline. You can't kite back. Try to run into them. Even if you die, you're Karthus. Who cares? You need to exert some pressure. He's not doing anything. He has no mobility. He has no damage. Can't even affect the fight. Now it's just Cerberus with more health bars, with more power, good flash from Artemis to avoid the Q damage. He moves a little far away because he's scared of this Karthus dying in front of him. But then Eddie presents himself as a very welcome target and reset for the jump. So now the free pentakill, Artemis with a great performance, very good awareness, and in the end gets this well-deserved pentakill. I believe the first one of this split at least for him. Cerberus is a good team.
Yeah, Cerberus is a very, very good team, making a strong claim to be the second best team. Truly making SGB work very hard for that spot. I think it's hard to call. But hopefully production is ready. We will be going to a little bit of a break. Don't go anywhere. This series is not over. Team Secret could very easily pick up map 2. I hope they do. I want 3 games, but we'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Welcome back after that banger of a game one. Let's hope for 2 more in our match of the week. We're back here with the analyst desk. Welcome back, Clockwork and Marby. Have you recovered? I like the outfit already. Nice, good to see. Have you recovered from game one? Clockwork, let's start with you.
I told you the hat didn't change.
Okay, so no, I will I'm still hopeful. I still believe in Secret. I still believe that their composition was exactly what they wanted to work with. There was a bit of misexecution in the whole process, because I think Secret put a lot of effort into freeing Nagia, especially with DNK putting the Herald up and ganking a couple of times. They really wanted to let him free on the map. That, though, made it for Artifact not to be so dominant in the mid lane, which Yado played really well, and he had no business being that far ahead on the Seraphine. That led to Seraphine nullifying completely the poke from Artemis and DNK's ultimate. The Seraphine was healing and shielding too much. On top of that, DNK didn't even go for the Morello, which was a good way to cut the healing. He went Liandry's. So the Karthus, despite the initial advantage, wasn't really able to make his work, to put a dent into what Cerberus' composition was. So I think if DNK could have focused onto Artifact and the mid lane a bit more, the game would have looked very different.
And Marby, tell me a little bit about the bot lane matchup, the hype matchup we're all looking at.
Oh, well, look, Artemis, of course, everyone's going to be saying, oh my god, look at this fella. He got a massive pentakill. But for the most of the game, that man actually was probably the 4th most impressive player on that team, because damage, all the accolades, it actually comes down to the fact that the setup was so good from his team.
Our producer just got rid of us because he doesn't want to show us. Fair enough. Unfortunate.
Ban.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the early game a little bit more, because I feel like on cast we talked excessively about the late game execution of Cerberus and how great they looked in team fights and so on. But the early game actually went Team Secret's way, and as Clockwork already touched on, was very much focused on Nagia. Marby, do you like this strategy? Do you wanted to see Nagia be accelerated, or do you feel like it wasn't really what Team Secret
in this composition, it will almost paid off for them if I think the exhaust wound up biting them in the ass a little bit, because if DNK was able to had a means of getting into that backline alongside Nagia, they probably could have won a couple of those mid-game team fights really hard, because Nagia was pumping out so much damage, getting them so low, just the tiniest slivers of health. If Karthus is in there, 1 to 5 tick changes the whole game. It's so I think feeding Nagia, getting him going, it's absolutely a fine strategy. I do think maybe you want to actually take yourself into the bot lane, because despite Yado playing really well, it's still the Artemis show. He is the main carry. Despite being the 4th most impressive player, if Artemis is having a bad game, it doesn't matter how many great knockups Huber and Pun are getting. They don't have the damage to follow it. They fall down. They lose the game. So I think go bot lane, just because you need to keep Artemis in the hole.
Yeah, and here we see already Secret addressing very clearly the problems from game 1. Tristana taken away, Seraphine taken away, and they also ban Thresh. So they're probably coming up with a way to give more priority and more power to their bot lane. So let's see. Of course, this is going to be
the
some
horse is
jungle
open
trade.
for the first time today.
Okay, it's not too bad, because you can trade for the Udyr, and it's
Is it
definitely
a fair trade? I'm still not.
It's Hecarim favored, but it's not that bad. And with the Thresh ban, with the Tristana ban, you get the first pick of the next tier of 80 carries, which is going to be Kai'Sa, because for Eddie, and that leaves Artemis probably returning to the Xayah. Yes, he can have great performances, but it's much harder for him to have those pop-offs like if he could on Tristana or on Jinx or even
I love
Kai'Sa.
Xayah. His Xayah is so good.
His
I
Xayah
really-
is good, but it's still harder to pop off.
For sure. I think he's smart to only pick Xayah as a response to the enemy AD carry, because the one time he got punished for the Xayah early pick was when the enemy team Flash, in that case, responded with Jinx and it just outranged him in team fights and he couldn't do anything. So
You can go-
this
you can go
composition from
Nocturne.
Cerberus, very active in the early game. They could play through bot lane, they could play through top lane, depending on what they choose. I really like this opening from Cerberus. And Team Secret,
Yeah.
for me, a little bit on the back foot in this draft already. They need to find a good matchup somewhere. I would like to see the Silas here.
Indeed,
Silas could
and there's
do-
also two things that I want to point out here is that Cerberus decide to pick a mid laner, which is not that common. Usually they go for support and to let the two solo lanes for the round 2 of the draft, but also the Twisted Fate is a very effective possible counter to the Nocturne, so they don't need to ban it because there's this mechanic between Twisted Fate's ultimate and Nocturne's ultimate that whoever holds later has the vision. So this Twisted Fate is really smart from the side of Cerberus. Secret answer with the
Speaking of
Syndra.
not so
which is-
smart, yeah, Marby, tell us about the Syndra.
Okay,
Okay.
so Syndra
Sorry, Club.
isn't that great.
Yeah.
It's just not enough damage. Like you'll probably win the laning phase by a little bit, but then you're gonna fall off extremely hard and become a stun bot. I would have much preferred to see something. Unfortunately, Galio was banned. That
Silas.
was a perfect pick. Silas, yes, that is an option. I would have liked to see a Nocturne lock or a Camille lock. Preferably Camille for one main reason, then less likely to ban the Nocturne in the second phase than the Camille in response to a Nocturne pick. Nocturne just can completely shut down Twisted Fate. It has a little bit of flex potential between mid and jungle with DNK. So I think going for one of those two picks would have been a really great answer into server. Oh, actually, you've already got the Udyr, so never mind.
Here, like, look at the draft. There are like 7 support bans. That is insane. And I think, like, we were talking maybe earlier about the Tahm Kench. Do you see some TK angle for maybe servers?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Braum,
I
like,
don't
like-
think you ever need to pick Tahm Kench with Xayah. If you want to go Tahm Kench, just go something that hyper carries as well. I mean, Xayah can hyper carry, but then you kind of go double down on Xayah's safety, so I don't really like to see that too much. The Braum is pretty good into TF. It's pretty decent to Xayah too. I just fear for Team Secret's damage. It seems like damage could run out in the late game, especially against the two big tanks on the other side.
So the real issue is your support pool is really running low. Seraphine banned, like so many supports are banned. Brom's probably one of your best supports left. What is Huber going to round out
Surprise
with?
coming from
Or
you.
the Bard?
No, I mean,
Oh.
look, there are so many support bans. What would you go for
I don't disagree.
as a blind
I'm
support
just
pick?
teasing. Just
It-
teasing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the better option would have been Zillion, but no. So top lane, you have two main options into a sign. You go either Cho'Gath or
Go Nami.
Aatrox. Since they want the more damage, they're probably going to go the Aatrox.
Yeah, we've seen this matchup before. Is heavily Aatrox favored, especially early on. Played well, can maybe even snowball into mid game. Looking at the composition from Team Secret, I'm very scared. I feel like they've gone away from trying to team fight Cerberus head on in the late game. And looking at the composition, they should not win late game team fights at all. Into Cerberus' insane late game team play comp. But yeah, maybe a little bit more early game action once again through Nagia. DNK trying to accelerate. Please swap champions, guys.
Hey, hello DNK.
5 seconds.
Is that an Aatrox?
Fellas?
It is not an Aatrox angle. It is not. It is. Are we seeing?
Okay,
Aatrox
so
ja-
I don't think we have to do the 20 seconds here, as far as I know.
Okay.
it could also be a spectator bug that this has happened
Yeah.
before.
Well,
But,
players having difficulty swapping champs because that's something.
The
we also-
clicking debuff.
oh god, we could. There is a non-zero chance that we have to remake the whole champion select. And I fear for that because VCS players suck at this particular aspect of the game. One of the most crucial aspects of the game, picking your champions.
Okay. You got it all wrong, Marby, okay?
Draft
How
mechanic.
did we get to the very first international final ever as VCS?
By tilting Marchu to oblivion.
There we go. We need to practice for MSI again. MSI is coming up. We had very smooth champion select so far, so we need to slowly induce the champion select tilt. We need to make it standard again for VCS teams. So once all the VCS teams adapt to this meta, we can then bring it to the international stage and tilt G2, Damo1, and whoever comes from LPL.
Let's go. That's the plan.
Don't need to tilt G2, they suck.
Oh, okay, may I say, like, we are clearly into a break, whether we like it or not. So I want to say, last week there was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah, okay. So I will close with the secret. Telling the secret has another early game composition, which is really what they want to play with. Cerberus still going for a bit more of the team fights. I believe that, I have to predict Secret. I made the hat. I need to predict Secret here as well. They will win the early game.
Another hat? You need another hat.
Yeah.
Look, the Dum hat is going to get a lot of use because Secret have really screwed themselves in the draft. They are losing so hard in bot and mid. Artemis and Hugo are going to have an absolutely free time down there. DNK has to try and make something happen. Artifact has to try and get the shove and out Roma Twisted Fate. So it's going to be really rough for them, and I think it's just going to be an easy win for Cerberus. Nagia is going to have the game of his life to turn this around.
Yeah, it seems like we're still experiencing a little bit of difficulties. Maybe the champ select had to be remade, but we are actually just presented with the compositions. Who knows? So a little bit more time to talk about this in depth. I'm a little bit intrigued by Hugh going back to the summer of last year, stable Bard. I made a video about Bard. Hugh was very, very good into Bard as well. He's good into Braum? Okay.
He's very good into Braum. Braum can basically do nothing into him. If you try to, say, engage onto your means of engage is Wing forward to a minions, and that just means it's a free stun setup for the Bard, and you can completely deny that. If you want to block the Bard stun, especially in this duo, you would then leave yourself open to the Feather Recall. If you try and block the Feather Recall, you're open to the stun. And so this duo is
a lot of mind
extremely
games
hard for
going on
Braum to
there.
play. Yeah, Braum has to do some weird stuff with the using E to cancel the ultimate to try to get anything done. But by the time you have ultimate as Braum, Sire has ultimate, so you end up just wasting it. And this is a nightmare to play as the Braum, but unfortunately, with what you had left, you kind of were forced into this sort of matchup.
We very seldomly actually get to see support counter pick and support late pick, so excited to see what this does, because the first support counter pick today was atrocious, didn't do anything, egregiously bad, so I'm a little bit irritated by this composition by Cerberus, because I feel like everything is set up to carry through top lane. You have a roaming support, you have a roaming mid laner, a very strong jungler that is able to dive as well, and then you have a Sign in top lane, so I feel like this composition with a carry in top lane would be even better. But yeah, we heard the predictions. Thank you for your time. A little bit extended this time. Now we can let him out of the cage again. He already couldn't contain himself, couldn't restrain himself from shouting in our ears while Champion Select was going on. But now you're allowed to come back every day.
Well, I'm going to do, I am a bit of an actor. Let me do my Shay Rebel Fox. Why'd they pick Syndra? What was this pick? Why have they gone for the Syndra? I'm so disappointed. I wanted more carry out of the mid lane. Syndra is just not good. I'm really unhappy with it. I think Cerberus have come out way ahead in the draft. It's hard to see Team Secret coming back in this one. Bit of a throw.
What happens in the VCS when one team clearly has the draft advantage after winning game
the terrible draft always wins.
Yeah, for sure. So here we are. In for game 3. I would like to see another game. This would be a little bit disappointing if it went to Cerberus 2-0 again. Though, we have to say, if Cerberus is able to win against Team Secret and Saigon Buffalo 2-0, basically back-to-back, not quite back-to-back, but in very quick succession, there's a huge advantage for them in playoffs, and also just looking strong and impressive heading into those playoff spots.
Yeah. So I do like the Aatrox counter pick into the Scion. It is sort of the one of the two. I think Marby pointed that out. You either pick Cho'Gath or you pick Aatrox. The VCS has been favouring the Aatrox. But we just have to
Which
see.
makes sense. We like to skirmish a lot. We like to push early teamfight advantages. So going for the earlier focused, more dive, more action, more damage focused counter pick, I think makes a lot of sense. Not sure if it is the correct choice into Cerberus, but I kind of like what Team Secret overall has done with this draft. Not holistically looking at the draft, but just accepting their position in this series to say, yeah, Cerberus is just the better late game team. We can't win late game team fights, so let's not try. That's not our win condition. Our win condition as a team is to accelerate top lane through early plays, maybe, and try to win in early skirmishes, not get upset once again after a 3k gold lead. So
Yeah.
at least it's a clear plan. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but at least it's a clear plan. I like to see that.
It's true. I am very happy to see that. So it's just a matter of if they can actually execute it. Because last game was not what we got. We didn't get clean execution, sorry.
We get the scuffle.
Ooh, it looks like we will, as there's a bear and a horse ready to have a scrap as there's a stun landing onto Artifact, but now Yado getting trade back on, and he just has to flash the hell out of there. So it is going to be bear 1, horse 0 in the Scuttle Scuffle.
Really not sure if he had to flash, honestly.
No, I don't think so.
Go for something there. It's going to be Scuttle Crab advantage and level advantage for DNK. Very... Yeah. This was not a very auspicious gank. Too far away and too much CC and too many slows there for Cerberus available. So can't really do much. Was spotted on the ward anyway. So yeah, he has to reset now. Will lose the Scuttle Crab. Now top lane advantage from the side of Cerberus.
Ooh, a collapse coming in, but Bard Tunnel is pretty good. Look at all that damage from the Blade Caller. Eddie just gets absolutely ripped out. DNK comes in, flash bear slap. They want to follow it up with the Braum passive as well, but they can't. Huber just flashes away. Now Eddie's slowed down. The Meeps are coming in. CBL jumps forward, gives him the resistances, and Team Secret does not come out pretty.
And such a bad decision there for DNK. He already saw how impossible it was for him to gank on the first interaction with the enemy champs, but he still insisted on going to the enemy bot lane again and again. He wasted so much time. He gets a flash trade, and I guess exhaust as well, but traded for exhaust on CBL side. So in the end, it's an even summoner trade, and he gave the enemy jungler, who is the way better scaling jungler, way bigger power spec at level 6, so much leeway, so much time to just pick up his farm, get back to even levels, and should even be ahead in camps right now. So very disappointing start for Team Secret. They need a good early game. This was not what they wanted to go for.
Yeah, and this is very smart there. I just want to point out Artemis cancelling his recall to make sure the wave hit into the tower. CBL not able to hold it for Artemis. Not the best situation. Up on the top side, the Aatrox counterpick not coming into effect yet, as the CS is very even. Pun actually should pull ahead if he farms well under tower. Okay, he didn't farm that well under tower. Did get zoned, so 1 CS down.
1 CS down, but full pressure for Nagia. He should be able to get to level 6 first too. Pun is going to TP back to lane while Nagia can walk, so a little bit of a TP advantage possible if Nagia decides to use TP back into lane to break the freeze. He kind of just set up for himself there. Yeah, he has to TP back into lane to not lose level 6 power spike. That's a little unfortunate for the Team Secret top lane. DNK back in bot lane as well.
Yeah, encountering Zhu Hao, just spooking the horse. He scatters, but not able to actually make anything happen.
Yeah, Zhu Hao tried to assist the bot lane in pushing in the wave to reset this one. It resets anyway, because the minions worked out in their favor, so in the end, not the biggest fan of Zhu Hao being down here. I don't think he really accomplished much. But honestly, looking at the map, there's nothing available for him to do.
Except round 2 of the Scuttle Shuffle. Doesn't happen though, as the smite comes in from DNK. Now Huber could be in a little bit of trouble, but Bard Tunnel straight on out of there.
Great champion. So much fun to watch in pro play. And Huber was one of the best bar players as well. We had Slay, we had Huber. Those were the most proficient. Oh, Artifact wants to set up the sun.
Yeah, they're going in onto Yado, but DNK doesn't have the flash. Can't do much about... Oh, he's going to try and get out of there. There's the Destiny. There's the gate. He just gives them the tip of the hat, and he's on out of there.
And that must have been milliseconds for the stun for DNK, or maybe DNK messed up his rotation early on. Big trade for Artemis. Best Xayah player in the league by far. Showing his dominance on this champion. I personally have absolutely no idea how you can win against Xayah in lane. She seems impossible to fight for me.
Pardon?
Possible to fight also DNK and Nagia.
Yeah. DNK does steal away the blue buff, so doing well in the jungle. 10 CS lead, and has hit level 6 first, but Udyr level 6 is not exactly a power spike.
Yeah, overall good recovery for DNK though, after spending so much time unnecessarily in bot lane, trading his flash away. Oh no, oh, good cleanse.
Oh, Eddie, careful, son. You are on about 10 HP, and I mean, it's just a bot gap. Artemis is just absurdly good. We've been singing Eddie's praises, but...
Eddie's HP is still in lane. Can you please go back to base?
Eddie, stop. You're cracked.
If you just look at him long and hard enough, he's going to die. Because he has no HP whatsoever. Luckily enough gets away, but now no summoners whatsoever, while Artemis still has his.
Spotted.
Pun is pretty squishy, pretty weak
yeah,
at this point.
Yeah, but Zhao is here. They charge straight in and look at the damage that DNK's taken. He goes down to the wild cards. Nagia spreads his wings. He's in the middle, but he actually gets the Rift Herald. He just pops the eye and gets out as well. So no one gets the Rift Herald in the end, but it is the one kill over to Cerberus First Blood.
Great collapse from Cerberus, though, already resetting their bot lane after. They didn't overcommit for the bot lane dive. They didn't try to get the kill on Eddie. They knew, okay, we forced Eddie away. We get the first reset. We can move into topside, secure this objective. Not quite what happened there. A little bit unfortunate on the objective secure, but they still get the kill. So that's 300 gold. That's basically the base value of the first Rift Herald as well. So they got what they came for. And in the end, it's a kill for Cerberus. They are 500 gold ahead and can now move back into the bot lane, which is getting more and more volatile because there are no summoners available for Eddie.
Very true. And currently the lead isn't translated into very much for Artemis. They're actually pretty much dead even when it comes to combat stats. It's just the refillable potion difference at the moment, as they do get onto this Mountain Drake and chunk away, taking down the objective. It's a good stuff. That's
the Udyr gap. He's supposed to do that. Later on in the game, he's definitely gonna be less relevant than Zhu on this Hecarim. Engage power, CC power from Hecarim, much greater. Better way into the backline too. So it's supposed to happen this way. Zhu losing the first dragon to DNK, even though his bot lane is losing. So very good time window found by the jungler of Team Secret to go for this early objective. One big problem I can see already developing is the mid lane matchup. You're supposed to hard win and pressure the TF as Syndra. He's going to out-roam you. He's going to out-impact you later on as well. He can push towers. He can CC. He can be the CC machine in later team fights. So where's the Syndra going? Kind of feels like a repeat of last game where the counter pick for Team Secret's mid laner doesn't do anything.
So the only way I feel like this Syndra can become useful if he plays it like DR1, where it's just stuns. Because DR1 actually makes Syndra look useful. Just landing amazing teamfight stuns. It's not about the damage. It's not about the skill button. It's about the E. Can Artifact do that? Maybe, maybe not. But Team Secret definitely needs him to.
An Artifact, definitely a very proficient Syndra player. Very good Syndra pilot. Oh, we get the triple gank for Nagia.
Yeah, I think Nagia might be dead. There is a teleport coming in, but Artifact is way too late. Nagia kited away from his own tower, so Artifact's just here to catch a wave.
Just a little too late on the rotation for Artifact. He needed to be there either before TF arrives or in a way that delays or completely hinders TF from ever entering the fight. If you just TP through the turret, I guess you catch the wave. But then again, it would have only been one plating max. I think they would have reset anyway. So it's pretty much a wasted TP. They still get the free kill of the first TF ult, or the second, I should say, because the first one was used to escape. So to OTF. Interested to see if we go to Everfrost 2 here in the VCS, or if he stays with one of the other items. Nagia, no flash.
He doesn't have a choice except to kite away, I suppose.
I don't really... Yeah, this is not really a mistake from Nagia. He was pretty safe with his lane positioning. I guess his mid laner could have communicated the missing TF a little bit earlier. Maybe try to keep track of the Hecarim a little better, but mechanically there was nothing for him to do. He had no flash. He can try to somehow dodge the ultimate engage from Pan. But yeah, it was pretty much just... Okay, 3 people are here. I don't have flash. I'm dead.
There's not a huge amount the Aatrox can do there. Particularly with the point-and-click CC, as you pointed out. Nagia will continue just bullying Pun, though, pushing him on in that one death doesn't actually cost him very much in the 1v1. This Sion, still not much to be done against Aatrox. Just needs to try and turn into that big old meatball. Lovely, lovely spicy sauce.
Yeah, honestly, if your mid laner was a different mid lane, if you had Victor or an Azir or an Orianna scaling in the mid lane, giving up 1 kill for 3-man dive in top lane or a 3-man attempt in top lane for TF ult wouldn't actually be too maddening for you. But the problem is you have Syndra. So while he's outputting more damage and having more impact on the map, he's also going to outscale you later on. So you really need to find a way to make the Syndra work, to make her 2v2 power, her early control, transition into something palatable. Because right now, Yado, he's not really attempting any 1v1 all-ins. That's not the champion he is. But he's still going to scale. He's going to offer so much CC, so much engage, so much pick potential that Syndra can't deal with. Syndra hates to go to side lanes. TF loves to go to side lanes. So the game is getting harder and harder to play for Team Secret. It's going to be harder and harder to actually get all the experience from all the waves coming in. They're losing their space to breathe.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Ooh, a bit of an engage here, but Nagia can't actually kill Pun.
Oh no, he can't.
That's an issue though, because this farm lead, a 20 CS lead against a Sion, doesn't do anything. It's not really good enough.
That's what I really like to see, because the game has slowed down. We can actually make these side points. I really like to see the carries into Sion matchups start with Khal, or at least buy a Khal very early on, to accelerate the gold gain. Try to get ahead of the curve in terms of items compared to the Sion, because if you get to a mid-game teamfight on 2 items while the Sion is on 1, maybe you can't kill him, but you can kill the other people on his team. So you can use top lane as a gold mine to just get as much gold in your pockets as possible and try to fight. This way, yeah, he has a 20 CS lead, but who cares? It's a Sion. You're not going to be better than him in team fights. So all the counter picks for Secret right now looking a little bit invalidated.
Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a fight here over this
DP
dragon,
behind.
though. There's a Twisted Fate ultimate coming in. There's a smite coming out of DNK, and here we go. The fight. The Glacial Fish is good, but Hecarim's even better. Straight in, Pun enters the fight as well. Nagia goes low. He goes down. Cannot heal through it. It's traded back onto the Hecarim, though. Doing well, Pun. Getting tanked, but he is still a big boy. Sion. Look at Huber setting up a flank, bringing Artemis around. He can now attack over the wall, but it's a double kill for the Kai'Sa. CBL getting tagged up. Eddie can't re-enter this fight. Yado goes gold. Can DNK find a way in? He can't quite. Yado so low. DNK just wants to get in and slap him, but look at it. Long range Syndra comes in, wins them the fight. 3 for 2 at the moment, and they will disengage.
Actually, a very, very good fight from Team Secret, and they are fuming right now looking at the dragon spawning. They were hoping so much for a dragon win condition. Now it's only Cloud. Cloud is going to be nice, but not game winning. So in the end, they use so many resources to secure this second dragon. It's a very good fight setup for them. Xu Hao overextends into the backline. I don't really like to see Hecarims do what he just did there. He used his E and then used his ult. I really like to see the move where you E channel, then ult into the backline, then E out of the backline again. So you're basically untargetable, but you also bring a lot of CC. He just offered himself as a sacrifice. And in the end, this choke point, not good enough. Artemis too far away. A little bit of disconnect also between the bot lane from Cerberus and the rest of the team. Few really wanted to go for the wraparound, the chase through enemy territory, while the rest of the team stayed in the choke point. So Artemis was kind of lost on the map. So the first disconnect we have seen all series for Cerberus leads to Team Secret's first one fight.
It does. They also pick up the second Rift Herald. They managed to secure well, kill both of them, but only secure one, as they do have the eye this time. They could use that. Ooh, the bar.
Oh,
Okay.
what?
Well, Artifact's dead. Not the greatest timing on the Everfrost. I think it just missed, but it didn't matter because the gold card came in. Easy. Nothing. What can you do?
I think it hit. I'm not sure.
Well,
Maybe
regardless, what can Artifact do? Even I'm not sure if the Everfrost hit or not. It didn't really matter. What can he do?
Great usage of the Bard. We actually have to revisit the Bard meta because we haven't seen Bard in a while. And giving up the Rift Hulls is obviously not that bad of a play with the Bard in your team, because he can just completely nullify the Rift Hull push. So Cerberus gets more of this play overall because they use Bard to get a kill, while the enemy team just gets the Rift Hull, which is not going to amount to much if Huba is in the correct position. Really like to see that. Proactive Bard use, ult usage. Artifact has no flash, so can't get out of this. In the end, it's another kill, this time to Artemis, who had to use his lens, because it was scary.
And I mean, you were a bit of a Bard expert after the analysis from the last split. I remember a certain bell that can't be unrung. But, speaking of bells, I think they're ringing in the bot lane as they've gone under the tower, brought everyone, ding, 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 ding. Oh, it's like a boxing match. DNK wants to come in, trade some blows back. We'll get one. Can he get onto Yardo? The tower will do it. Oh my god, DNK is still alive. How is this happening right now? Team Secret are actually turning this one around. Nagia arrives as well. The Bard tunnel doesn't matter. So how can he get found? He can. Out of nowhere, 4 kills for Team Secret.
And we praise Cerberus so much in team fights, but the mechanical execution is not quite on the best level. Missteps here and there, Artemis, and then Yardo, most crucially, stepping back into turret aggro as the only one of his team. He was out of range, but then stepped back into the turret, died to the turret, no CC coming from him. The dive started greatly. This was a great setup, but they overstayed for the second kill. Could have just been satisfied with one and then move out of the lane again. It's an easy setup. Eddie has no chance whatsoever. Just run from here, though. Just sacrifice Artemis and run away. Instead, they try to extend the fight. DNK is very tanky. And look at this turret. No, Yardo, no.
The really clutch thing was CBL applied his passive one more time before he died. He got like one last Q off, and then DNK could use it to stun. It was really close.
That's a big swing for Secret. Sadly, almost all of the gold goes to DNK, who's not going to scale too well with gold later on. It's just going to be a little bit annoying, pesky as a backline, as a tank running into the backline. But Udyr has a very hard time dealing with Bard and Xayah, so it's not going to be the most effective gold allocation. You really wanted to give gold to Eddie for him to scale up to Artifact. I guess he got one kill, so in the end, Secret win the play, but didn't really accelerate to a great lead. The game is still very even, and the Dragon is coming up in 1 second. No contest whatsoever from Cerberus.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cerberus might be reading that it's just a Cloud Soul. Obviously not something you want to give, but it's not an Infernal. And perhaps they're not as scared of Team Secret moving up to Soul Point.
Can you help me brush up my knowledge on Cloud Soul interaction with Udyr? How does it actually work?
Every day has disconnected.
So you don't know either.
No, I'm not 100% sure. I know he has a special interaction with it, but yeah. I don't quite remember. There we go. We got a clarification from production. He gets a smaller proc from any stance. That makes sense. That makes sense because his R is a basic. His R is basically a basic ability. So.
Yeah, that's very useful to deal with, especially TF, to keep him accountable, to try and actually catch up after he slows you down, after he stuns you. You can still make it work with the Cloud Soul speed, so that can come in handy for DNK later on. Still don't really see a way how they teamfight later on in the game once Xayah hits 3 items, once TF gets a little bit more under his belt as well. Maybe Zhonya's even more annoying stuff to deal with, all the active items for the TF. He isn't really going for much damage. Look at his itemization. And this could be a way. Just go for the Hail Mary Baron, because you don't know how to win the game. Sadly, the enemy team has the map hack. I just activated with R. So, maybe not.
But still, you got the TF ult. You can always just do it again, right? You can just run it straight back. as Nagia down on this bottom side. Oh, Zuhao coming in at the speed of sound.
What are you
Ulting
doing, Zuhao?
forward. This is a madman play. It's going to get onto CBL, but he just flashes away. That's a lot burnt, but look at this teleport. The feathers are set up.
What?
That's Artifact coming in, immediately getting chunked out. There's a Scion Q. He has to try and get away from Pun. He's doing it well at the moment. Now on the other side of the fight, it's DNK charging
Look at
forward,
Eddie.
making a lot of space. DNK, he has to try and get away. He can't though. And now Yado entering from the left. He throws in that gold card. It's blocked by CBL. Well done. Blocks the Everfrost as well. Nagia, big threat in the front line. Can he actually get forward and leverage his power? He can't. Team Secret have to lick their wounds and back off.
And I can't believe they lost this fight. Everything was perfectly set up for Team Secret to succeed. But even this early in the game, even before Xayah hits 3 items, can really threaten to kill on the disengage, they are still not able to ever go into the backline and secure the kills. That's devastating. That's really bad for Team Secret, because they're not going to get better at this later on in the game when Pan has even more HP to work with, when Zuhao's engage is going to be more threatening, more dangerous to play against. So this is probably going to be a glimpse of what is to come later on in the game. But
I think
a lot of
the big
chaos going
mistake
on
is
here.
Artemis. I think this is a silly TP out of Artifact. Sorry, not Artemis. Like, look how much time. Like, look at Artemis just setting feathers up.
Very bad timing from Chuba, we have to say. This could have been a kill if he times the Q a little bit better. And then Artemis is under a lot of pressure, but very clutch exhaust hinders Eddie from getting the kill on the enemy AD carry. And now Artemis, once again, in a good position to just free fire. As I said before, not quite on the item breakpoint to really carry this one home. One more item and the Xayah can probably get a quadra kill here, just chasing back into the enemy territory. But in the end, they keep her safe, and it's another kill for Cerberus. And they're back in a very slight gold lead. Gold is irrelevant here. It's just about the item timings. And Artemis is getting closer and closer with every single minion.
It's very true. This Xayah getting more and more terrifying. Is ahead of this Kai'Sa by quite a lot. But we have to keep on watching. There is obviously all the dragons and
Another
Zuhao.
one.
He's not done. They're going in on CBL. Once again, Pun charging forward. This time the Braum will not escape. Pun takes a lot of damage, but it's not lethal. And if it's not lethal, it doesn't matter. As that is another pick there for Cerberus. Yado tagged up by that W, but not pulled in. A stun card lands. 50 seconds on Dragon.
Oh,
Bard
man.
ult on 2. I think the game just ended your way. As that ultimate is going to set up 2 kills. And Cerberus charging forward. What a play. The TF ultimate used as well. They're going to go forward. It's a double kill for the Xayah. GG.
Yeah, it's unplayable. It's unplayable. This is a game I want to go back and actually rewatch with Clockwork, because I think this is the perfect demonstration of range advantages in team fights. You can see Team Secret running around like headless chicken. They are not SPTC, but they certainly look like SPTC in this fight, because there was nothing they could do. They tried to walk forward, tried to go for the stun, tried to go for the knockup for Nagia, but just too much kite, too much range, and you don't want to blow all your cooldowns into Zuhao and Pan. They were zoning in the front line. Great team fight setup for Cerberus. Just look at this again. Just look at how useless all the champions on Team Secret side are. CBL, he's supposed to be the tank. He's in the middle of the lane. 3 people behind him, but no one can help him. He's caught out. He's dead. Nagia teleports to the turret. Let's just look at Artemis and Eddie. Artifact and Eddie, sorry. I'm making the same thing as well. No auto hits whatsoever. No stuns, no Qs from Artifact. Then he tried to at least get in range to ask someone, but that immediately caused his death. Look at Eddie. Yeah, he's auto-attacking Pan. Nice. Look at the damage. It's not there. And it's so easy to set everything up for Cerberus. It's a masterclass of teamfight composition against non-teamfight composition here. And even though Team Secret pays back with a little bit of a prize for themselves, they get the Cloud Soul. I just can't see them ever getting into the backline and getting into positions to carry the game. It's the Kai'Sa problem. Yeah, you can jump into the backline, but do you really want to? Alone? I'm not so sure.
There is still a Cloud Soul. Look, I called GG, and I did mean it. I agree with you. There should be no way for Team Secret to do this, but an Elder Drake is still going to spawn your way. Anything can happen. This is the BCS. This is getting towards a late game. We've seen stranger things happen. I'm kind of pulling for Team Secret to get the comeback because I'm having fun and I want a third map.
Yep. It's very unlikely at this point, for sure.
It is.
We need to be real. I like your call, GG. Even though, looking at the gold, very few people would have just looked at the score line and said, okay, this is GG. But looking at the fights, it seems so unplayable, especially for the likes of Udyr. Look at him running around with so much speed.
diving in. Eddie, he's getting in so much trouble, has to immediately exit the fight. Yeah, he's alive, but he can't influence the fight, so it doesn't matter. As they have the map hack, the tower will eventually go down. That Baron minion kind of trolling them. It finally falls. And Cerberus will continue the siege. Eddie, of course, can rejoin.
Yeah, now he has no ultimate, no flash, so now he's just a 525 range AD carry behind on items. So he's not on the map. You can really just look at this game and say, yeah, he's not on the map. He can't do anything. There's nothing this Kai'Sa can do. I want to go back a little bit and just talk about the two players in the AD carry position, because this was our main storyline coming into today. The two understories of Slader, the back-to-back champion from 2020, replaced by Eddie. Eddie, a little bit of a Kai'Sa one-trick so far. It's 6th Kai'Sa game, I believe. 6 Kai'Sa, 1 Xayah. But this series has really cemented Artemis as the greatest carry, AD carry, not only in the league, but also of the triumvirate of the Slader prodigies. Slader, Eddie, and Artemis. And Artemis today winning against Eddie, and maybe even winning against Slader, just saying, well, Slader, you cost me my starting spot, or I wasn't able to play under you, but now you're not even able to play under Eddie while I'm stomping him. So how the tables have turned in this AD carry discussion.
Certainly how the turns have tabled. Never would have expected it to be this way. And, I mean, Artemis, what a split he's been having. Has been, to a lot of people, flies under the radar, not as crazy as someone like Levi or Carty.
Look at his scores. I want to actually push back on that.
Sorry, let me rephrase. In terms of flash, in terms of how flashy he is, I don't think he's incredibly flashy. So he flies under people's radars while being insanely good. I don't want to take that away. They are flying in. There's the kill onto Artemis. If they're ever going to win a fight, it's right now. We caster cursed him. We said Artemis was amazing. He's instantly dead. The kills have been picked up, and now Nagia spreads his wings, and he wants a big ball of pun.
Almost poetic how both of the kills go to Eddie. He picks up two shutdowns. He's now back into the game, maybe moving to 3 items. Can he challenge Artemis in the back half of the game? That was a little bit too much praise. Praise per minute needs to be toned down so we don't curse them too much. Look at Artemis just getting caught by the stun. That was just foolish. Needs to ult way earlier. Very nice engage from Eddie. He knows how to play this one. He is the Kai'Sa one trick after all, so he knows where to go.
Yada, just see ya. I'm out of here.
Yeah, and actually, if we had to criticize one player a little bit more in this game, I'm still pretty unhappy with how Xuhao is playing his Hecarim. At this point, he can actually play full peel Hecarim if you wanted to. He can also still play the engages way better. I hate Hecarims that just go in with ult and then have no E to get out again. The Hecarim interaction is so strong where you just E before you go in, then you ult in, then you E out, you have double CC, you get back into your own team. But he's isolating himself every single team fight. It hasn't really cost them too much. But he needs to be careful. This could actually lead to him just getting blown up and maybe setting up Eddie for a little bit of a spree in the later team fights.
Yeah, we very much could see it as it's perhaps back on the table. We know how quickly a game of League of Legends can swing. Sometimes it's not about logic. Sometimes it's just about momentum and how people feel. Because by any logic, Cerberus should be winning this basically 100% of the time. But
how do you feel about the top laners here? Think back a few weeks back and looking at Nagia against Pan, we thought, okay, 2 bottom of the table top laners, pretty bad performances so far.
I mean, I will say, so we kind of we expected Pan to not be playing. We thought Poss was going to be coming in. We got word from Cerberus management that apparently that didn't quite work out. Yeah, Pan has been caught out, but he's very tanky, has a lot of shields, and now the rest of the team arrives. Xuhao comes in, everyone turns gold with that Bard ult. Now Xuhao, he's caught in the middle of the team. Yeah, that was a little Team Secret, Bard, sorry, I muted myself for a second there. DNK runs in, gives a little stun.
What?
They trade back onto Nagia. This is so much damage. Pun refusing to die,
DNK.
but he still hasn't fallen, and DNK goes down. Cerberus, they're just too tanky. Elder Dragon's up.
Yeah, Huber really trying to prolong the game there with a very bad Bard ult. Though you have to say it's very hard for a Bard to know that the ult is going to be bad. No follow-ups you see. Usually you would say, okay, I have a Sign in my team. Bard ult 3 people, Sign can time the Q, the game's over. But the Sign Q wasn't available, so Sign just stood there a little bit uselessly. So in the end, it's still a one fight in CBL.
Oh.
I'm not sure what he's even trying to do. I'm not sure why he's peeking his head out into the river when you have no jungler, no way to secure your way into the river either. There's just a little bit of power in from CBL. Not his greatest game on the Braum for sure. This another big objective for Cerberus.
Yeah, this is the Elder. This will get them the Baron, and
How do
surely...
you kill Pun?
Well, they are on stage together. You could beat him to death.
The classic. We're back to that one, okay?
Hey, we go back to Old Reliable.
Yeah, he looked very, very unkillable there with the big shield coming in. He was so tanky, dealt so much damage. They even tried to funnel into the choke point. Then he got his Q back available and killed everyone with that one. Very strong performance in the last few weeks. Let's go back to the Pun point. I want to praise both top laners. I think Nagia and Pun have looked great in the last few weeks. We are very concerned with our solo lane quality, but I feel like especially top lane with the new rookies coming in and Pun stepping back up, top lane is actually a very good level right now. We have Kiaya. Yeah, look at Pun. Look at how long Pun lives here.
He doesn't die. He can't die.
And this is so unfortunate because he has no Q to channel. He's so sad. This was the perfect opportunity for Pun to channel the Q. He's going to get another very good one here. Look at him just blocking the entrance. He's still alive. He still has more than 1000 HP to work with. Eddie's desperately trying to get him down, but he just can't confirm the kill. Oh, man. There's a reason Sign is a very good champion. The best tank in the game right now. And even the counterpick Aatrox wasn't able to deal with him. Yeah, that's not the way to go.
Yeah, and here's the last engage. CBL chunked out very low. DNK trying to find an angle to go in for a bear slap. But I think it's just a matter of time. They're waiting for a wave. Cerberus with the Elder. I don't think this is going to be held. It's going to be a 2-0. It was a good 2-0, though. Very happy to watch it. As, the tower gets turned off. They all go gold. Zuhao moving forward. He actually might get blown up. He does, but now the dragons begin to roar. Zap! It's getting a little bit sci-fi here on VCS English as the damage coming in. Artifact desperately trying to hold on to the game, but it does not matter. Cerberus will be your winners. They cement themselves in the second place. Right under Garm. I'd love to keep talking, but I need to send you back over to the smartest people I know. I want the VCS English analyst desk to give it a good go and take us out for tonight.
Thank you very much, Everyday.
He's awake.
Good
He's
rest.
just crying.
Yeah, look at him.
Big dum-dum. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
next time we look at a Team Secret, contentious Team Secret series and see Clockwork predict the outcome in favor of Team Secret, we all know what to do. What a convincing 2-0 performance from Cerberus. A little bit of they're coming in a little bit nervous maybe, and a little bit of a stumble in game one for the first 10 minutes. But past those 10 minutes, it was just all going Cerberus's way. Marby, I'll let Clockwork sob a little bit longer. Walk me through this composition and how it worked against Team Secret.
So they basically really came and isolated where the compositions were strongest and how they can play it into what Team Secret had. Team Secret had decent early lanes in top and mid, but their bot lane was just one of the worst matchups you can have, especially as a Braum. You just suffer so much. And, I mean, CBL's Braum play, even despite that, was bad. He was way too far forward, and that made it really easy in pickings. Their best team fight was that dive that DNK managed to salvage, and then they got the 4 kills for 2. And most of that was because Braum was right on top of his carry, shield up, delayed the kill for so long that and got so much passive procs and CC down that they were able to get in. Everyone was lined up. But every other time, too far forward, Zhu Hao's able to isolate him with the ult, drag him back into the team. He's gone. There's no more protection. And that just meant they get to just walk forward and kill the rest of Team Secret. Braum is a very difficult champion to play in terms of positioning, but you just don't go that far forward, man. Especially not against a Hecarim. And it's painful.
Well, and Clockwork, you have to go back to the mic. I know it's painful, but come into the camera. We need to all see your big dum-dum head. Though I have to admit, we all looked a little bit dumb with our predictions. Cerberus stomping Team Secret today, 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why and how?
So, so basically, Team Secret, as I pointed out last week, when they can get an early game lead, they know how to snowball it into a win. So today, they tried to do that with 2 very early game focused compositions, and they tried to replicate this skill that they have, but they couldn't. They couldn't against one of the teams that plays the least for early game. So from a broader perspective, Secret getting their kind of bread and butter or their ideal composition and still not managing to snatch a win here, it makes me wonder a lot. Like, yes, I'm still convinced that they can make it to playoffs and steal the 4th spot from SBTC. But after that, are they going to be able to make some waves other than that? I think it's very unlikely, especially because
I'll give you one chance of actually redeeming yourself and your prediction and maybe turning your head around again. Do you want to blame the 2 new players on Team Secret? Do you think, okay, it's not my fault? Do you want to tell us it's not my fault? It's all Nagia and Eddie?
It would be very easy to do so, but I think it was a team-wide effort. Like, there weren't moments where Eddie specifically or Nagia specifically made a huge mistake that completely toppled the game. Hell, even game 1, I think if you try to pinpoint such a mistake, that would be on DNK, in my opinion. So I think it's a wider issue. Yeah.
Good to hear.
It wouldn't have been different with Slater, and it probably would have been worse with Coated.
So let's take a look ahead. I'm not sure if the standings are ready. Probably not with the newest changes, but they are actually ready. So let's take a look at the standings before we close it out, and maybe ahead to the next week as well. The standings tell you that Cerberus is a very good team. I think they moved up to +10, if I counted correctly. +11 even. So very impressive.
I looked quickly at their results in the second half of the split, and Cerberus is monstering it. They're 5-0. And like with this hot positive streak, I will never say it enough. They remember they are playing with a team they didn't want. Zhu Hao and Pan shouldn't be there. Yet they're monstering through the second half.
Yeah. Cerberus, I think, has pretty solidly put down a case as they are the second best team. So it's really rough when you are coming in as Saigon, Buffalo, and Team Secret, because you're gonna have to play Cerberus in the first round robin before you even get a chance to go towards Gum. I mean, Gum's probably gonna pick Secret and just get the free run to playoffs, free run to finals. But if you're Saigon, you're looking at Cerberus and you're going, how the hell do we deal with Artemis? This man's insane on his own, and then his team is the best team at setting up their AD carry, bar none.
They're making him shine, but he's also repaying all the efforts from his teammates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's really coming true on the faith. So to close out the week and this amazing match of the week, even though we were robbed of a third game, we are just ready in time to move over to the LEC. I want to close out with, I'll give each of you one thing to look ahead to. I'll choose randomly. So if you feel like I gave you the worst thing to talk about, I'm very sorry. So first of all, let's look at. I think this is going to go to Clockwork. Team Secret's playoff chances and their remaining schedule. They have 2 games next week, as every team. Right? It's a super week, 4 days. And Team Secret is going to play against BTS and Flash. Do they make playoffs?
I'm very inclined to think yes, they will. They're basically only contender in the race is SBTC. Okay, so Team Secret has probably
It's between the two.
the 2 easiest matchups, as you said. They should very well take a 2-0 against BTS. It might be a bit harder against Flash, but I still think they're going to get maybe a 2-1, okay, realistically. SBTC, on the other hand, has Buffalo and Cerberus. There is no way in the world that they can get it. Like, even just one win in week 9 is very hard. It's very unlikely. So I think that Secret, despite this loss, which of course hurts, they're still on a very good track. Like, they didn't win this match to make it.
Yeah. Okay, and to close out the week, not the week, I'm sorry, we come back tomorrow, of course, with amazing matches, by the way, at least one. But to close out the day and the match of the week, Marby, you get the last point of discussion, which is Thursday next week, match of the week for sure, maybe a playoffs preview, maybe a finals preview. We have Cerberus against GAM, second match of the day. Does Cerberus win against GAM?
Cerberus versus GAM. I think there is a good. Oh, it's really hard to say. With the form Cerberus has been putting out so far, they have a really strong chance if they can just hold on through the early game. But GAM is absolutely cracker in the early game, so it's really, 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 really tough to say. I would still lean no. I put this because GAM had the upper hand last time. GAM looks like they're looking to return to sort of playing towards that top lane, and that should be where they can really break open the game. They still go bot side just enough to keep style in the game up against Artemis. Plus, I think B is just a much better support than someone like CBL. So even if you try and push him down, I mean, B on Braum is the best Braum in the league. So I'm not worried about B and Style at all getting sort of 2v2 killed or like completely blown out in the bot lane. So
I think this is going to be absolutely amazing. Hopefully, great preview of things to come, or maybe not. Who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs? But even though both teams are secured in playoffs already, this is going to be a very exciting time. Mark your calendars. Next week, Thursday, we start a day early, so don't miss that one because it has Cerberus against GAM. Very cool match. But that's all for us today. We're going to be back tomorrow. Thank you very much, Clockwork, for coming on once again. More and more regular, more and more dum-dum hats. So we appreciate that quite a lot.
I'm gonna need more dum-dum hats. Secret still has
we need more of those. We need to stack those, honestly.
Secret still has 2 games to play, so plenty of opportunity.
So, of course, thank you, Marby, for casting and joining us. And thank you very much, Spoots, for producing, for all the great graphics today and every day for the great casting. Many highlight moments. Go back and watch those. We probably have clips in the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, join our Discord. We are going to enjoy LEC later today. We're going to be back tomorrow with the cast and a lot of lively and lovely discussion for all the leagues, but especially, of course, the VCS. You can find all the links below. If you really enjoyed the show, then consider supporting us through Twitch, through donations, subscriptions, of course, Patreon. There's a link below as well. We really appreciate that as well. Hard times for some of us, and we need all the money we can get because we're doing this for free and for you and for us, but money would still be greatly appreciated. With that, that's all for today. See you tomorrow back with the original 3 and back for 2 more games. We have SPTC against SGB. That's a super important one. And to close up the whole week, we have GAM against G Media Luxury. Maybe not quite as important, but certainly fun. See you tomorrow and have a good night.
Good night.